Hi, this is Chris Bosch, and you're listening to Animal House Radio with Aaron and Dr. Mike.
Because any of the flashes can really be detrimental to an animal's eyes, right? And you walk in there, and the first thing you read is that. And then you sit there and you say, you know what? No matter what, I mean, it's pretty plain, it's pretty simple. Don't flash. Don't do anything with a flash. And what do? Everybody's around there taking flashes and pictures. It's absolutely ridiculous. So,
as long as there's no one flashing, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, no, of course.
Okay.
No, it's
it happens all the time. You sit and you see signs that say don't do this and don't feed the animals, and everybody's feeding the animals, or don't touch the animals and everybody's touching the animals.
Of course.
It's amazing. No one ever listens to what's been said.
Of course.
So,
you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go to break. When we come back from break, we're gonna speak to Bob, because I believe Bob's gonna be on the phone line any second now. We're gonna go to break. We're gonna be back in a couple seconds with Bob Barker, and we're gonna go to Sharon in Edmonton when we come back from break. Listen to Animal House Radio on www.animalhouseradio.com and CHHA 1610 AM in Toronto. Back on Animal House Radio, Bob Barker will be joining us momentarily, probably in 10 seconds. He just called my BlackBerry. He went, "Yo, Aaron, what's going on? Aaron, did you know what? The price is right, brother." And I went, "Bobby!" He went, "Aaron!" And then he says, "You know what?" He says, Bob is a huge sports fan, by the way. Bob is a big fan of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Is he?
Yeah. He's going to be on the line right now, and we're going to get to Sharon momentarily once we introduce Bob and this issue in Edmonton, and all of our Canadian fans listening coast to coast on animalhouseradio.com and anywhere else in the world right now, in the States and in Canada. We broadcast, and we've got about 260,000 listeners. I know, Dr. Mike. I know. You have to give me a sedative soon. Ladies and gentlemen, the man who really needs no introduction, but he always deserves to have it because he is the man. He is the legend. He is the icon himself. From California, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you former host of The Price is Right, Bob Barker. Bob, how are you, buddy?
I'm fine. Thank you for that spectacular introduction.
Oh, you are very, very welcome. You deserve a lot more than that, but I mean, this is on a serious note here, and yes. I want to get to the bottom of this, because I've been getting emails, and I'm looking over all this stuff over here, and this is pretty interesting stuff here that you took. You know, a lot of people are saying you took aim at Edmonton here, and last time you were on Animal House Radio, you claimed to be the next prime minister of this country.
Well, I have no reason to believe that I'm not going to be. I was invited to be the prime minister, and I've accepted, and I'm ready to take over the office. And as I told the people at The Price is Right, the Canadians who were there in that group, that no matter what your problems are, I promise to make them worse.
There you go. Well, let's hear the story. What's happening in Edmonton?
Well, they're holding an elephant in captivity there,
right.
that
Lucy, right?
does not belong there.
Right.
And
how'd you hear about this, Bob?
I beg your pardon?
How did you hear about it?
I heard about it from Zoo Check Canada.
Right. We're going to be talking to someone later from Zoo Check Canada, in fact. And they love you, by the way.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I was saying we're going to be talking to someone from Zoo Check later on, and they absolutely love you.
Julie Woodyer.
You got it. Yep. She's going to be on later.
She's the one. She wrote me, and her letter, it was an appalling description of how this poor animal is living. And so I called the United Activists for Animal Rights and spoke with Nancy Burnett, who is a fine investigator, and she did a little investigation, and she said this elephant needed all the help that we could possibly give it. And that's what I've been doing. I've been talking with radio, television, and newspapers, and I hear that I have stirred things up pretty good on behalf of Lucy.
Yes, you have. Now, can you just give me an example of some of the things that you've said and you've given out to the public about the situation that Lucy is facing right now in Edmonton?
Of course. Well, basically, and probably most important of all, she's being held there in solitary confinement. There are no other elephants there. And this is a female Asian elephant.
Yeah.
And I do not purport to be an expert, but experts tell me that it is absolute torture for those Asian, in particular the females, to be held alone like that. They're very social animals. In their natural habitat, families stay together for decades, and they form herds that stay together throughout their lives. And for this poor Lucy to be alone there like this, it's terrible. And then she's had foot problems and infections of the feet are the biggest killer of elephants in zoos in the United States and in Canada, I'm sure.
Right.
And she's had abscesses on her feet that formed as early as 1989. And she apparently is beginning to show signs of psychological disorders brought on by stress. She rocks back and forth, back and forth. They don't do that in their natural habitat. They do
it's
that
not normal. It's not normal.
And in circuses.
So, you know, Bob, I got to say one thing, and I got in touch tonight with the office for the mayor of Edmonton, and I was hoping that they would come on, that the mayor would come on, and they didn't come on. They were initially going to, then they issued a statement, and their statement was nothing more than just the
we take good care of Lucy, and she's
explaining
fine,
their methods of what they do, and then of course any good statement's going to say we do this to protect our animals, we do A, B, and C. So I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get them to come on the air, but I mean, once again, I think that shows maybe a lack of, I wouldn't say appreciation or interest, but I don't think it's something that is a priority.
Well, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I think their position is defenseless. I don't know what they could say.
Yeah.
What can they say when the finest zoos in the world have come to terms with the fact that elephants cannot be healthy and happy in zoos, and the finest zoos in the world are closing their elephant exhibits.
And
yet, this tiny little zoo, you could hardly call it a zoo. In the United States, it would probably be called a roadside show. It's just an elephant, and as I understand it, an elephant and a couple of tiger cubs and a couple maybe of other animals. Just what they are, I don't know. But it's terrible for an elephant to be there. And the winters in Canada for this poor elephant, which is suffering from chronic arthritis, they must be just miserable.
Yeah, no, and that's the problem. You know, we've got to find a solution for this, and we're going to find a solution.
The solution would be for the Canadians to rise up, make their wishes known, and get that elephant out of there and get it into a sanctuary where it can live the life that nature intended for it to live.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. There was a zoo in Anchorage, Alaska, had exactly the same situation, a female elephant being kept there alone, and after pestering them long enough, they finally came around and they sent it to the Paws Sanctuary in California. I went up there and saw it just a few months ago, and Maggie is thriving, and she's just as happy as she can be. Now, I'll tell you what, there's a development you should know about, Aaron.
Please.
I spoke with Councilwoman Linda, what is her last name? Because she's emerged, as far as I'm concerned, as a bit of a heroine. Linda Sloan. She's a councilwoman there in Edmonton.
Yeah, she's in charge of the district where the zoo is.
Where the zoo is.
Yeah.
I had a very productive conversation with her, and she suggested that I have Ed Stewart of Paws call a lady named Prefontaine, Denise Prefontaine at the zoo.
Yep.
And he called her, and I think probably at the councilwoman's urging, Ms. Prefontaine said that Ed could come to the zoo and look Lucy over for himself. He's taking his chief veterinarian from the Paws Sanctuary, and he and the veterinarian are going to the zoo on, I believe it is March 8th, and they're going to look this elephant over. Now, if Lucy, they've said she's too ill to travel.
Yeah.
Well, in one breath, they say she's getting wonderful care, right, and in the next breath, they say she's too ill to travel. It hardly makes sense.
Yeah,
but
we need
if she is, then of course we have to do the things that the medical requirements to get her healthy. And if that's impossible, if she's so far gone that there's no way to make her well enough to travel, then we've just got into it too late, and we will understand that.
Yeah. Right.
But if she can be saved, we want to save her.
Well, of course.